Hi, this is Max Haag, and in this video you will get a summary of the book Stealing Fire: How Silicon Valley, the Navy SEALs and Maverick scientists are revolutionizing the way we live and work by Stephen Kotler and Jamie Wheal. Stealing Fire is a non-fiction book about the $4 trillion revolution of our minds that's been hidden in plain sight for decades. It's about altered states of mind, peak performance and flow. So, what is an altered state of mind and what is flow? You probably experienced many altered states and flow already without labeling them as altered states of flow. People experience altered states of mind through sports, yoga, meditation, psychedelics, coffee, running, climbing a mountain, working for hours on a business project, and many other activities. So there's a wide range of activities and substances that all lead to a change in your mind, and this change in your mind is now measurable through neurobiology. Maybe you know that feeling when you work fully focused on one task. You are immersed in a business project and you just work for hours on one thing. Time flies by, 3 hours just passed, but it felt like 20 minutes. If you experienced that before, you were in an altered state of mind. You probably experienced an altered state called flow. And science can measure now what is happening in your brain while you are in that state of flow. Another example, if you go running for 20 minutes and you experience a runner's high, where your brain stops thinking and you're just very present in the moment. You just run. You might even get the feeling that you become one with running, and it can feel very good. That's again an altered state of mind. If you're doing yoga or meditation, you probably experienced already that you can control and change your state of mind. Even just drinking coffee or alcohol changes the neurochemicals in your brain and your state of mind. The book starts with the stories of the ancient Greek Alcibiades and the myths of Prometheus. And what these ancient stories have in common is that for millennia there were people who stole the fire and shared it with the world. The so-called fire can be seen as a metaphor for an altered state of mind. Ecstasy is also commonly used, and it's a synonym for the upper portion of altered states. And flow is also an altered state of mind, which can help you to achieve peak performance. Throughout Stealing Fire, Stephen and Jamie discuss how that fire started a revolution in the past decades, why we didn't see the bigger picture, why it matters, and how we can use this fire in a smart way to solve the world's biggest challenges, achieve peak performance and happiness. Stephen and Jamie give examples of people and groups that are consciously optimizing flow in their teams. The first example is the one of an elite warfighter group of the US Navy called SEAL Team 6. The guys at SEAL Team 6 do hard missions behind enemy's borders worldwide. It takes several years and costs several million US dollars to train and equip one of these elite fighters. And still, the most important skill for a member of SEAL Team 6 is the ability to flip the switch and get into group flow. And because flow is so vital for their success and survival, the Navy SEALs built a mind gym. Besides learning how to get in flow more reliably, they also cut down the learning time for learning a new language from 6 months down to 6 weeks. There are more examples throughout the book from Google CEOs and Red Bull athletes that are consciously optimizing their ability to get into flow states. The altered states economy is very interesting to understand, and probably you're already part of it in spending money in the altered states economy. Most people are trying to alter their minds consciously or unconsciously, and the altered states economy measures its total market size. Part 1 of the altered states economy are drugs that shift states of consciousness in the user. There are prescribed drugs like pain or depression meds, and then there are legal and illegal substances like coffee, alcohol, or MDMA. Part 2 is media. From video games, virtual reality, to electronic dance music and porn. Part 3 is recreation, yoga, meditation, as well as adventure travel and gambling. Part 4, personal growth, includes life coaches, self-help, business coaches, and therapy and counseling. If you combine those 4 markets, you get a $4 trillion economy. Why it matters? The actual content of altered states varies wildly across the different methods of how people get into them and also across cultures and religions. But the underlying characteristics of altered states are the same. Stephen uses the acronym STIR to describe these underlying characteristics that we find in most of the altered states. The S stands for selflessness. Parts of your brain shut off and become inactive, which leads to a temporary loss of ego and a sense of self. So you become fully immersed and one with the task at hand. Timelessness. Time is calculated all over the brain, and when the part of your brain called prefrontal cortex deactivates, your perception of time is distorted. It can feel faster or slower. E for effortlessness. The big 6 neurochemicals come online in varying sequences and concentrations. They are powerfully reinforcing the experience. One action leads seamlessly to the next. R for richness. The attention is very strong in the present moment. Your pattern recognition is amplified and we experience way more raw data in real time. Overall, this can lead to increased productivity. A study by McKinsey found that top executives are 5 times more productive in flow. It can lead to increased creativity and a lot of other cognitive improvements. So altered states are a $4 trillion market, and high-performing companies are already trying to optimize flow in their teams. Why didn't we see that big impact and that bigger picture before? There are groups of people that have a very high interest that these topics of altered states are not being discussed in public. Those groups build a fence, a pale around these topics. In short, it's about the pale of the church. Elitist religious groups want to keep access to altered states restricted. The pale of the body. Scientists rank the stuff that we are, the biology, higher than the stuff that we make, the technology. If we attain an altered state of mind through technology, then this was considered to be cheating. The pale of the states. Governments prefer states of consciousness that reinforce established cultural values. Part 2. The 4 forces are leading to greater access and bigger understanding of non-ordinary states of consciousness. Advances in psychology give us a better understanding of our own personal development and its higher stages. These stages of personal development can be explained by science and data-driven models. Advances in neurobiology have clarified our understanding of what is happening in our brains and bodies when we experience a range of mental states. Neurobiology makes these states now measurable and testable. Thanks to both psychology and neurobiology, these altered states are not anymore a mystic, unknown land of chaos, but rather a measurable and an accessible terrain. Pharmacology gives us another tool to explore this terrain. We can treat the 6 powerful neurochemicals that underpin altered states as raw ingredients. And we refine these recipes for peak experience and fine-tune these altered states with increasing precision. Technology brings us access to altered states at scale. For example, today you can buy an EEG device that measures your brain waves and shows them to you on your smartphone for less than $300. You can use virtual reality and other tech tools to trigger flow. And the more people use these devices and measure themselves in altered states with technology, the more data we gather and the more we can improve our tools even more. In part 3 of the book, you get examples from organizations that create events where the attendees experience altered states and the long-term impact of those. Burning Man is the event of the year for all sorts of altered states in one place. In the middle of Nevada desert for 1 week, 70,000 burners meet up once a year. From electronic dance music, visual light shows to newest biofeedback tools, and every mind-bending substance out there. Everything is designed to create a transformative experience. And that transformation lasts for 75% of attendees for weeks and months afterwards. A lot of Silicon Valley entrepreneurs and investors are mentioned together with Burning Man. Elon Musk is quoted, "If you haven't been to Burning Man, you just don't get Silicon Valley." Summit Powder Mountain is a mountain in Utah where a group of entrepreneurs and investors is creating an eco village in the mountain focused on innovation, entrepreneurship, arts, and altruism. And their community is built on shared peak experiences. In the last chapter, Stephen and Jamie discuss hedonic engineering, a concept to experiment and train altered states in a smart way. Stealing Fire is one of the best books I've read this year, and it's an absolute must read if you're in any way into personal development or peak performance. The audio version on Audible is pretty awesome too. If you want to get a one-page overview of Stealing Fire, follow the link down below to my website. If you have any questions about Stealing Fire, let me know in the comments down below.